Hello, and welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Geeky Sparkles. I still don't have Neon back. I can't wait till I get him back, so you're just dealing with me today. He is out with the kids doing some things, and I am left to my own devices. So get ready, because we're going to have a discussion. This time, CPR, in their desperate attempt for clicks, is now trying to talk about how Ahsoka is facing backlash and criticism, going as far as to 2008 to find evidence of this for this article. They literally are pissed about things that were said in 2008. That's where we're at right now, because they're so desperate for attention. And of course, it's misogyny written by a man. So this man's going to mansplain me about my feelings about women and female characters. So if you're ready to hear that, stick around. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're at 276,000 subscribers. Yay! And make sure you're still subscribed, because, you know, YouTube is YouTube and you could be subscribed, you think, and you're not. So now we're going to talk about this. Okay, so with Ahsoka being popular in Star Wars of the recent Disney Plus shows, the biggest complaint I've heard about the character is people were mad that it wasn't Ashley Eckstein who was cast. Instead, it was Rosario Dawson. But that's about the only complaint that I've been hearing. People aren't harassing the actors or anything like that, like they try to argue. And since people aren't having a hissy shit fit about Ahsoka, we have to go dig up a time when they were. We're going back 14 years ago to try to make a point for this article. That's how desperate it's become. When people like a character, and it's pretty much liked across the board, we still got to cause division and discourse by going back or discord by going back to 2008 to try to find an issue. I'm like, this is just downright stupid, Josh here, Mr. Josh here, that Josh Patton. This is just downright dumb. I'm sorry, but this is simply trying to cause division for division's sake. You should be happy. If you really truly love Star Wars and you like this character, people seem to be okay with this character, that should be enough for you. But it's not, because it's a slow news week apparently, and we got to go cause drama where there is none. So here's the article. The criticism of Ahsoka Tano's debut perfectly mirrors modern Star Wars discourse. Ahsoka Tano's debut back in the 2000s, early 2000s is the mirror for what's going on. Maybe because throughout history of any fandom, there are people who aren't going to like characters. There are people who are going to think that they are not good characters. There are people who are going to argue about different points. But back then, it was just considered, hey, you don't like it, it's okay. What do you like? We'll have find common ground. Now it's all because of misogyny. So that's what they're going to go with. And they're talking about the Disney Plus series lead Ahsoka as a fan favorite Star Wars character. Yeah, most people like her. But looking at her, the Clone Wars debut shows how the discourse hasn't changed. Okay. So they're talking about how the Disney Plus series is close to being done filming, and fans are excited to see the character. And while the Star Wars fandom is contentious, Ahsoka Tano is one of the few post-Lucas characters who is universally beloved. Okay, that's a win, right? If that's what you're for, and you're for female empowerment, and you're for strong female characters, and you're for fan unity, this is a win. They all like her. That's a good thing, right? Not for clicks. So now we got to go dig up shit to try to make people pissed. So they're talking about, she's often the character people point to in criticizing other female characters like Rey or Reva. Well, because Rey and Reva weren't that good of characters. Rey is a Mary Sue. I'm sorry. When I left The Force Awakens, it wasn't my male friends, it wasn't my husband who said that Rey was a Mary Sue. I said that Rey was a Mary Sue. I'm the one who said it. I'm allowed to say that because I'm a girl. I'm allowed to say that. It's not misogyny. It was pointing out a fact. It's like she started out good in the beginning, and I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of potential here. Same with Finn. And then they ruined that potential. That's more on the people behind the film than it is the actor. But there was potential there, and they had to go and make the characters unlikable. Reva, I get her being a bitch was character development. I get that. But it's nothing to do with her being black, and they turned around and made it out because a couple people made comments on Twitter. Of course, when a couple people make negative comments against something that you're trying to use as a figurehead for some agenda-driven bullshit, that means that the fandom at large is at fault because a couple dipshits made a comment about her being black. It had nothing to do with the character being black. That was very little to do with any of the issue. People didn't care about that. They keep acting like they just invented diversity a few years ago. It's ridiculous. Now they're back to Ahsoka. But they're talking about a quick look at the contemporaneous discourse around the debut of Ahsoka Tano show. Fans saying the same things about her they did about Rey or other Star Wars women characters not played by Carrie Fisher. Just so you know, a lot of people like the books, and there was a lot of female characters in the book. Mara Jade's one of the most popular characters ever. Also not a Mary Sue. In fairness to the Star Wars fans, blinded by unconscious misogyny. Oh, that's what you're calling it now? I'm a woman, but it's my unconscious misogyny. I don't like a female character you like. So you're going to mansplain me and tell me it's my unconscious misogyny. That's where we're going with here, right? Ahsoka Tano was entrapment. She was a character designed to mirror Anakin Skywalker, blah, blah, blah. Most of the critics were very sour on George Lucas' Star Wars and the prequel. That is true. I remember there was a show on Netflix. It was like the people versus George Lucas. And everybody and I got on Neon for this before too. People were idolizing George Lucas now and being like, I wish George was back. But I do remember when people were all pissed at Lucas from the prequels. So, I mean, I do remember that. And I do think it's funny sometimes when people are wax poetic about him now. And I'm like, but some of these people were the ones that were bitching about him back in the prequel era. Okay, they're talking about everyone from institutions like Robert Ebert to reviewers from then hip Wired, unlike, comic book resources, which is hip now, all point out that Ahsoka was annoying and had the gall to be cute. And then whether or not they recognized her as a self-insert character for kids, blah, 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 they're talking about because it was for kids and she's supposed to be like Anakin and all this other stuff. So they're going back to prove this point that everybody hated Ahsoka, and it was just like Rey. We have to go clear back onto the Force.net from October 13th, 2008. You literally wrote an article because Ahsoka's trending because there's a new show and everybody likes her. And instead of being happy that people like and accept this character, your answer is to try to cause a shitstorm by bringing up the fact people didn't like the character originally in 2008. That was 14 years ago. And actually, The Force Awakens and those movies were several years ago. And people still don't like Rey. At least they like Ahsoka now. I mean, that's growth. But no. We have to bring in misogyny because Ahsoka is a new show coming and it's a trending topic. So they're talking about this thread. It's a perfect microcosm of the larger Ahsoka discourse. What larger Ahsoka discourse? Yet change her name out for Rey Arriva, and it reads like it was written yesterday. It's titled Who Hates Ahsoka? She's called a dumb girl in the first post and laughingly encouraged to die in the show in the second. Literally went back to 2008 for this. The third post at least inadvertently figures out what Lucas, Filoni, and the rest of the Clone Wars storytellers are going for. Right now she's annoying, but I'm hoping her character mature through the series. Yes, and it's years later. Hindsight's 2020. You're just literally digging up shit from 2008 just to make an article to try to cause an issue, to try to cause more division, to try to get a misogyny. I gotta think of something quick. I can't call misogyny on those things anymore because people are on to me. I know. I'll go back to 2008 when Ahsoka appeared and I'll start yelling misogyny about that. But it's not, to get past the whole, narrative that I'll get thrown at me as women don't like her either. I'll make sure I know that it's their unconscious misogyny. You can be a misogynist and have tits. It's all good. So scrolling through the 3 pages, the conversation moves into debates about what apprentice should mean, who kills whom in a lightsaber fight, and about intense argument about whether the most recent movies were literal trash. Written 15 years ago. Well, that's not how math works, but okay. This thread almost perfectly matches modern Star Wars debates because people have always talked about this kind of stuff. You know, there's people who like the movies and didn't in the originals. It's been a discussion about characters and things like that for decades. It's like that for any fandom. If you wanted strong female characters that were beloved, go read the original books. Because there were a lot of female characters people loved. Eventually, the discussion turns to Mary Sue and forced female empowerment. With passing references to how cool Leia and Padme are in comparison to this new atrocious female lightsaber combatant. Can't speak today. So they're just going on about how back in 2008, people didn't like Ahsoka. But like she's a perfect character because how she played the audience. Yes, adults saw her as bratty and overconfident kid, not offering up enough respect to the Star Wars icon she rode into battle with. A risky choice, but fresh off the prequels. The last fans George Lucas cared about pleasing were the adult ones. To the kids who saw Clone Wars movie and then the show on Cartoon Network, Ahsoka was ideal. I mean, basically, this person probably grew up with Ahsoka being the ideal when he was a kid, and now we're gonna go with that now. She was funny. She was smarter than most of the grown-ups, and she kicked butt. For the first time in Star Wars, kids had character who was young just like they were. Yes, that's true. But I thought the argument has always been that it's always been for kids and the adults should shut up. And now it's the kids finally had a character like them to relate because George Lucas, was spent time trying to please the adult fans and that didn't work out. So here's the thing. I think it's absolute bullshit, an absolute farce, just to try to put this article out there now to cause drama. Right now, Ahsoka, pretty much everybody likes Ahsoka. People are happy with Ahsoka. So we can't have that, can we? We can't have people happy about a character. No, 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 no. It's a female character. So I would argue that it's more misogynistic to take a character that's beloved and try to tear it down to the fact that, but many years ago, people didn't like this character. I mean, I get the point you're trying to make, but at the same time, it's a moot point now. It's you're like, it's always there. You love Ahsoka, but she took shit too. Why don't you like Rey and Reva? Because Ahsoka's a more fun character than Rey and Reva. And Rey, there's potential wasted. So much potential wasted. At least they didn't drag Kelly Marie Tran into this one. They usually do Rose Tico, and they didn't do it on this one. But it's just, I'm so tired of it. If you want a strong female character that's done well, go look up Mara Jade. There's lots of female characters in the books and in shows that have been done well. This whole idea that everybody always hates female versions other than Carrie Fisher is a load of shit. I got crap because when they kept calling her General Leia, I was like, nope, she's always Princess Leia to me. How dare you? That's not feminist of you at all. Why? She was a princess. She was over top. She would be ahead of the generals. I mean, that's actually a step down. I don't understand, the generals worked for her. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It was just, I thought she was better as a princess because you could be feminine and in charge and kick ass. And I'm tired of this whole narrative that to be a strong female character, you basically have to be a dude with tits. And you don't. And I'm tired of it. And it's belittling the women too, because women have so many strengths that have to do with being a woman. Like being a mom or being, different things we can do that men can't do. And you always want to just gloss over that and make it like that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. We can do what men can do, but we can't do everything men can do. And men can do what women can do, but they can't do everything women can do. So why don't we embrace what makes us, what unites us and makes us strong? We also have things that make us different, and that's okay. I don't know. I'm just tired of this. It's stupid. If you made it to the end with my chipmunk voice, I appreciate it and thank you. Please like and subscribe. If I see more shit like this, I'm going to call it out because this is absolute stupidity and I look at it and read it so you don't have to. They don't get clicks then, I guess. All right, so like and subscribe. We'll talk to you later. Bye.